How much difference does a bit more power make? And then how much difference does a lot more power make? Well, I'm going to find out with these BMW 5 Series. What we have here is an M5 Competition, the new one. They've just updated it. Next to me is an M550i, so an M Lite. Next to that is an M5 that's actually had a built engine, so it's got loads more horsepower. We're going to drag race them, we're going to rolling race them, and we're going to brake test them, just because we always brake test. Anyway, let me tell you about the car I'm in. The M5 Competition has a 4.4 litre twin turbo V8 with 625 horsepower and 750 newton meters of torque. That M550i has the same engine, but it's detuned to 530 horsepower, but it still has 750 newton meters of torque. That M5 over the far end, which has been tuned by a company called evolved, it's got a fully built engine with forged pistons, new exhaust, remapped ECU, it's got meth injection. It also has a 4.4 litre twin turbo V8, but after all that tuning, it puts out 1,000 horsepower and 1,100 newton meters of torque. All these cars weigh the same, bit over 1,900 kilos. They also have 8-speed automatic gearboxes with all-wheel drive and launch control, though we can't use the launch control in the high-performance M5 over the far end just because it can't cope with all that power. Now let's come on to the cost. This M5 Competition, new, £102,000. That M550i, £72,000. That tuned M5, it's 30 grand for all the work on the engine, but that car over there, as it stands, is worth £80,000. So it's 20 grand cheaper than this and about 8 grand more than that. We're going to see what happens. What is the difference going to be? We've got a slightly damp track. Traction may be a bit of an issue, but let's give it a go. Now, before we do, please make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon to turn your notifications on. That way you will not miss a single upload. Now, before we race, let's do the customary sound check. I'm going to rev this Competition up. Soft limiter at 5. Still sounds pretty good. Just when you lift off, it's quite nice. Let's hear the M550. I'm assuming it sounds pretty similar. Now let's hear the tuned M5. Go on then, rev up the blue M5. That's more like it. It has got an aftermarket exhaust and of course a new intake system, very fruity. Anyway, let's get on with the racing. Now I want to make a few excuses before we race. You see, to have this car in launch mode, you have to have the stability control all the way off, so it does spin up its wheels sometimes, especially if it's wet. That M550i for launch mode, you have the stability not all the way off for some reason, but in the halfway setting, so it will manage the power if it starts to spin its wheels. Obviously, that 1,000 horsepower thing is going to have its stability in sports mode as well, so it should try to manage its power if it can contain it. But we shall see. Well, I can see a damp patch just ahead of me, which I'm going to have to go through. Hopefully I won't lose traction there. Go on. Go for it, come on. It just went up into 4th gear. It spun its wheels and went into 4th gear. Can I pull it back against the M550i? Before the line, come on, please. That 1,000 horsepower thing is down the other end of the runway. Well, M550i. I launched okay, then it spun up, and then it just went into 4th gear for some reason, and you're ahead of me. But I think I might have just beat you at the end.
Yeah, I think you did just beat me at the end, but that shows what a good start can do. That was really close between us.
Tuned M5, you're about like half a mile away from us at the other end of the runway. How was that for you? You've never driven that car before, have you?
I'm pretty sure I've just gone back in time. That was ludicrous.
Listen guys, I'd like to do another one. I'm going to try and launch this thing, not with launch control. I'm just going to try and brake boost it with the stability in sport, see if that helps me. I want to see what happens then. Much better. Much better. And I'm ahead of the tuned M5. Because he struggled for traction, but he's coming past now. Woohoo! Destroyed the M550i then. M550i. You got a little bit humiliated then, didn't you?
Yeah, that's how it should have gone the first time, to be honest.
I tell you what, if it's in any way, shape or form damp or even just the slightest bit of moisture on the track, with these M5s, you need to just brake boost them rather than use launch control because it'll soon lose traction. For the best time, you do need launch control and it being dry. That was good then, that was. I'm not going to do much better than that. How about the tuned M5? Were you a little bit worried at first? Did he lose traction?
Yeah, I just lost traction. I had a good launch, but I just couldn't put the power down. I was watching you go. I was under no illusion this was about to go to the next dimension. So yeah, I think the results speak for themselves.
So then, what exactly happened? Well, the tuned M5 did the standing quarter mile in 10.9 seconds. The standard M5 competition took 11.2 seconds, and the M550i covered the distance in 11.8 seconds. Interestingly, the damp conditions hampered the tuned M5's launch, as the car can do a 10-second quarter mile time in perfect conditions. Now we're going to have a rolling race from 50 miles an hour. The cars are in their least sporty setting. So automatic mode for the gearbox and actually efficient for the engine, though when you floor it, you'll get full power. We'll do it now. 3, 2, 1, go. Like, not much at first between me and the 550, but that 1,000 horsepower thing showed what 1,000 horsepower does. Hopefully it's not going to take him off the end of the runway. So kickdown wise, very similar for me and the 550i, I think, but then the added, why has this come on? I don't know what it is with BMWs. When you brake ever so slightly aggressively, you always get the blooming hazards coming on. I didn't slow down that quickly. Anyway, like I was saying, what was it like for you?
In the M550i, it's just a comfy seat to watch you two have a nice race, to be honest.
I don't think we had a race, actually, me and the tuned M5. It was just cars just doing their own thing. I mean, that M5 tuned, didn't you almost go off the end of the runway?
Almost is how you perceive it from angles, but I wouldn't want to brake much later than that, no. The axle went a bit light under brakes as well, so it was good fun.
It's because you're going so blooming fast. Okay, let's try something else. Now we're going to do the same thing again, rolling race from 50 miles an hour. This time, cars in their sportiest settings, and we are locked in third gear. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. The way that tuned M5 just took off, it was like I was standing still. And I sort of forgot the M550i was even in that. Okay, M550i. Not again! Stop it! Okay, M550i, I mean, you weren't in that race at all, not even for a second.
I was not, and I haven't seen anything take off in third gear from 50 as quick as that blue M5 all my life.
So, blue M5 driver, it's the first time you've been in that car. What do you reckon?
I'm struggling to think of a quicker car that I've ever been in just in terms of sheer pace. That is just mental. Third gear, when you said go, it was like a dog on a leash, and it just launches. It's ridiculous.
Well, I think that's pretty clear. It's 30 grand, that upgrade. May seem like a lot of money, but from where I'm sat, it seems like a hell of a lot of extra performance. Now we're going to have a brake test from 70 miles an hour. When we reach the line, full emergency stop. This has carbon ceramic brakes, that doesn't. This is all over the place. Okay, it's fair enough that the hazard lights are going off. Now, this lost. The M550i came second, but the tuned M5 did the best. The M550i, it's on steel brakes. This is on carbon ceramics. That tuned M5 also has carbon ceramic brakes, but there is something interesting. The owner of that tuned M5 has different tyres on it. He has Michelin's, not the Pirelli P0s that you get as standard on the M5 or the M550i. Because, let's be honest, the Pirellis just aren't as good, and I think you've kind of witnessed the effect in this little test. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed the video. The most powerful car won, but I hope this has shown you just by how much quicker that tuned car is than the standard M5, and the difference as well between the M550i and the standard M5, which is actually greater than I thought it would be. Anyway, enough of all that. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to this channel and please follow me on Instagram. I'm at Watson Cars. I'd appreciate it. Thanks for watching.